we return to Brindlewood Bay. Constable Huxley and Turner O'Neill just found a dead man. His eyes removed from his head. He carries no identification, no money. The only thing he had on him was a small dark crystal sphere, which almost appears to shimmer as if filled with some sort of mist or smoke, and fits in the palm of your hand, which now resides in Turner's pocket next to a vial of Matthew Goop, the slimy blue-green Ankh, and, oh yes, the shriveled skin-like husk of what was once a giant moth. Turner, after maybe a half an hour, returns to the alley. Oh, it's dark alleyway. It's over there. And in tow, he has Dr. Dan Dearborn, Sheriff Ed Blatz, and George Stern, local attorney and mortician for the town. Ed sees the constable. Huxley, what is this all about? What's going on?
Well, Ed, I was hoping you could tell me. I've never seen anything like it in all my years on the beat. Now,
Did we take this guy down? I forget. We got him down off the wall, didn't we?
Yeah, and you kind of laid him out on the ground.
Right.
so I'm sure there's still residue of seaweed and such. So we found his body up there. You can see on the wall there's like seaweed. He was plastered to the wall with this. Now, how anyone would get him up there, I don't know. Have you ever seen anything like this?
It's gonna be funny he mentions this. Does he look exactly like the guy in the bath, or different? Or not the... Like his bath?
No, you're talking about the mayor?
Yeah.
No, the mayor was kind of like shriveled as if all the water in his body had been sucked out of him. This guy just looks dead, and his eyes he's just gaping holes where his eyes once were. The doctor's examining him. The sheriff is just standing next to the constable, and George is kind of wandering around, investigating the scene a little and looking at the slime and kind of touching it and looking at the seaweed stuff on the wall. The doctor says, "Do you recognize this man? I know everyone in town, and I've never seen this person."
No. Can't say I have. Has basic garb of a sailor, but no one I know. At least not in this state.
It's quite dirty. Smells terrible. Not like a fishy smell. Doctor's just kind of doing a quick once-over of the body and speaking out loud. "George, come look at this." George Stern goes over and...
Does it look like Matthew from the other night? I'll say.
No, he's quite human, that is certain. No more than 27, 28 years old. Clothes are worn. Obviously was rather poor. And George comes over and I think I know who this is. Yes. This looks like Kingston. Osmond Deshane's son from Mucky Point.
Would I know who that is? With my sailors?
Unlikely.
Okay.
Or me?
Unlikely. The people of Mucky Point don't interact. Like, it's kind of like people from there don't come to Brindlewood Bay, and Brindlewood Bay looks down on Mucky Point as being just dirty and poor and small. And
But it's like I mean, as much as a fishing town can be, a town or two over or something.
it's like much smaller than Brindlewood Bay too, and it didn't grow quite as fast after this, what's called the schism, when the leaders, the two men, Alistair Deshane and another man, were the founders of Mucky Point after having disagreements with the other leaders of Brindlewood Bay. The Hawthorns in particular, and went to make their own town not too far away. There is trade between them, and they do kind of work together in the whaling industry, but knowing this is Kingston Deshane, you know that he would not be a sailor because he's the descendant of the town founder. But still not very well off. Ed says, well, we need to get out of here. We should get him back to the doctor's office for a full autopsy.
Couldn't agree more.
What else have you found, Huxley? You're following up on Mrs. Blair's report of the missing person?
Yeah, I couldn't get any information. They're all tight-lipped. No one seems to know anything. And that's,
Well, you
that's
got it.
just, I chased, once the door was slammed in my face, I saw someone lurking around. I chased him back into the alley. And that's when I ran into this.
Would you show them the footprints you had found that were clawed?
Oh yeah, sorry, I
and
forgot
wet?
about that part. I did read it while you were away, but I forgot. And this is the strangest thing. I mean, Doctor, you deal with all kinds of life. Have you seen anything like this before?
No, I haven't, but, well, the man you brought to me, looks at Turner, claiming to be Matthew Walsh. This does look sort of like something he might have left, but I just can't believe that. He's almost in disbelief of what he's looking at, because it's just disturbing to him to be blatantly inhuman. And then George says, this must be some elaborate prank. We have some murderer on the loose in Brindlewood Bay that is just trying to create fear and cause a supernatural stir, I suppose. I would almost think Watley might stoop to something so low, just to drive up his own business even, but murder? No, he's too weak for that.
Well, let's get this unfortunate soul back to where you can examine him. Cause of death would be something I'd be very much interested in.
They would have brought like a stretcher when told of a body, and so everybody all kind of worked together to get him onto it and carry him back to the doctor's office.
I will definitely
It's
help.
about 4 in the afternoon.
Quite a spectacle walking through town with this. Did you
Well-
bring a sheet to cover him?
Yes, I have it right here.
Well, Constable, I mean, it might not be as odd as you think with all the dead bodies turning up around town.
What is going on? Well, I'll take one end. Let's avoid the main streets.
Mr. Turner, would you mind helping carry the other end? You're quite strong.
Turner kind of gives a look of, I gotta do everything around here, and then lifts it up and follows direction.
They kind of go back alleys a bit, trying to avoid just the main streets. Back to the doctor's office. You're a bit on the outskirts of town, kind of near Bonfire Cliff. And the doctor leads you all inside, has you and takes you into a room to lay out the body, and says this will take a few hours. Why don't you come back later this evening? Then I'll let you know what I've found.
Aye. And having seen Bonfire Cliff again, I'll go. You find the body of the captain?
It hasn't turned up at all, Ed says. But he likely fell into the sea. Maybe it'll wash up soon here.
Aye, fortunately. And what time is it? Because if I recall, I have a midnight meeting.
You actually have a sundown meeting with Jonathan Willoughby behind the post office.
That is true. I have that.
And then a midnight meeting. Yeah. With
and an unknown midnight meeting at the same place.
the storm is raging. It's just been getting worse and worse. It's as dark as if it was the middle of the night, though you know it's only in the kind of mid-afternoon.
I'll start heading towards where I already forget his name. Cross's assistant told me to meet him because I'm assuming it's nearing that time. And if possible, I'm gonna try to swing by basically a few areas to see if they still remain in the same state they were. You know, what's the house that we've stopped in on twice. Make sure he's not there. The town square to make sure, or well, the dock to see if the giant fish thing is still there and in the same state.
Yep, so you go by Kip's house. It still appears abandoned. You walk through the marina. It's about the same. People kind of gawking over the creature. Krause's men are still guarding it, though Krause is nowhere to be found, nor is Barrett, his guard and best friend.
And is the ship completely disassembled at this point? Or
It's down to the very last bit of bare bones. They'll easily be done completely dismantling it within a few, by nightfall.
and looking out at the sea, it's still the same state or worse?
Seems about the same.
Okay.
The smell at the marina is more pungent than ever. George Stern stayed with the doctor to help with the autopsy, and Ed tells you, Huxley, that he's going to take care of some things, and then just leaves.
AKA a bottle.
Yeah. Huxley just looks at him after he's looking away. He just shakes his head. So what did George say? Or did he say anything?
Just that he's staying to help with the autopsy.
Oh, helping the doctor.
Yeah. So you go
Right.
to the post office, which is a pretty large building. It is where the town telegraphs are for sending messages outside of town or even across country. Thunder booms, rain pours, the winds howl and appear to be picking up. And you remember James Prescott mentioning that Lawrence Watley claimed there was a hurricane moving in, and that if he's right about anything, usually it's the weather. Behind the post office, there's not much activity. It's kind of got its own little alleyway and where they keep trash and refuse. And you find Jonathan waiting for you. Turner, I'm glad you came.
Ah, Jonathan, wouldn't have missed it. Though I still don't know how you work for those arseholes.
And then he sees the constable and kind of gets a little rigid. Constable Huxley, hello. What brings you here? Are you together?
Actually, I wasn't
Sure.
planning to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know,
Didn't realize that.
Sorry, because I was gonna stick with the doctor, but I can change that. I forget why
Oh
you
no,
were
I
coming
just
here.
I just thought you were traveling with Turner.
Yeah,
To be fair,
I think I might be wrong about my. I forgot what we had left up with before. My bad. I forget why we were seeing this guy.
well, to be fair, I made the meeting. You made a meeting in the church. I made a meeting with this guy because he said he had information about Kraus and the goings on. I mean, basically, I basically walked off. So, I mean, if you wanted to have followed me, that's fine. If you wanted to investigate the doctor and mortician, I guess that's also fine.
No, I'll be with you. Sorry. My bad.
And then I guess I turn back and go, well, I have a little bit of a follower on. See, another dead body just showed up. A lot of them nowadays.
Eyes go wide. I
Now you-
know. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know more of the hobnobs. What do you know about Kingston Deshane?
That would be Osmond's son, the mayor of Mucky Point. Mr. Mr. Kraus has met with Osmond recently, actually, but I did not know his son came with him into town. Osmond left earlier this morning. He was here to see a creature. You found his son dead?
At least that's what the doctor says.
There's been a lot of strange deaths.
Listen, I shouldn't be talking to you, but I've overheard some things recently, disturbing things. I feel a bit trapped in my position. Mr. Kraus, he relies on me. I know you disdain him, Turner, but he is a good man, and he only wants the best for the town. Kraus family, they could do a lot of good.
Oh, I still fail to see what the diamond in the rough that you see there, Jonathan, especially with Barrett in tow, but
Yes, Mr. Barrett. He is not a good influence on Mr. Kraus. But they've been friends quite a long time.
you've been able to catch any parts of their story about what they saw? And I'm assuming I trust Jonathan fairly closely, at least by the sounds of it. We fairly close, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of sit down on a nearby, I'm assuming, barrel or chair that's just sitting there, and I go, I need some insights, Jonathan. I have a bunch of clues, but not enough rope, so to speak. All the masts. Can't pull the sail. I kind of sit down and rub my beard. And some of these occurrences have happened close to the oh god, what's the name of the highfalutin area again?
High society.
Yeah. I forget what their street is called up there on the hill on the mountain. But
Oh yeah, I do too.
It's literally called Hawthorne Lane.
yeah. Over near Hawthorne Lane, things happening in the quarry, people with golden masks, I'll say.
When you mention the golden mask, his eyes go a bit wide and he seems a bit shocked and he says, I don't really have any concrete information to give you, Turner, but I have found some golden masks while cleaning in the basement of the mansion. You know that he lives like with the Kraus family, he and his wife and kids. And his family has always kind of been this support role, servant type for the Kraus family.
Well, I think it was 5. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5 masks. How many did you find there?
It was 4 or 5, yeah. He says, well, they were in a crate in the basement. There was a whole pile of them. I didn't think it too strange in the moment. I just thought some heirloom of Mr. Kraus, possibly. I've never seen anyone wearing them, but I've been hearing strange things late at night coming from the bowels of the mansion.
What?
To add to the creep factor, I'll just kind of, I know you have the sound somewhere, but I'll kind of slowly say what I heard them chanting. The Cthulhu Batagan. See if that gets a rise out of him.
Were you gonna say something, Constable, after he speaks?
Yeah, what sort of strange things have you in the bowels of the mansion?
I thought it just my imagination. But yes, these words you speak, this chanting, and just unnatural, otherworldly sounds. Like some sort of animal. I don't know.
Small animal or something large?
I, just nothing like I've ever heard before. It sounded garbled and gurgled. I don't know what it could have been.
Now I know your curiosity, Jonathan. Did you get a glance at it? See
No,
any-
no, I didn't want to disturb Mr. Krause's privacy. It was late at night. I went back to sleep. It's happened only twice now.
Hmm. Well, maybe 3 times if you count the quarry. But I'll ask you a question, Jonathan. You ever felt the world slowly go into a tunnel? The crackling of what seems like electricity, a shade of red.
Looks a little quizzical and no, nothing like that.
Good.
I don't know what you mean.
If you see it, I recommend locking yourself up and running quickly away from it. And I'll go. You've always been better with artifacts, Jonathan. I need some insight on a few things. And let me know what you think or what looks familiar. And I will. One, I'll kind of look at my current alleyway situation, and is the post office closed at this point? Probably.
No, it would be nearing closing time, but you're at the backside of it where there's really no one around.
Okay. Well, then I'll pull out my. I'll pull out the Ankh. I'll pull out the.
Your little collection.
Yeah.
Seems interested but wary, and he takes the Ankh from you and like almost immediately drops it on the ground. He's, oh, that's disgusting. What? Why does it feel like that?
I don't know. And I kind of pick it up with part of my jacket, and I go, "But did you hear the drums?"
Oh, I hear nothing.
Good.
He says he kind of looks at the vial and the crisp skin material, and
Yes, yes. You seen any? That came from a moth, believe it or not. You seen any moths around your estate recently?
well, now that you mention it, yes, these white giant things with black spots. Though I look
Moving?
again and they seem to just disappear. I catch one out of the corner of my eye and I turn and it's gone. I thought it was my imagination.
I'm assuming just by lifting this man, I have. Well, you said sorry. Is the goopy stuff that was holding Kingston different than the moth stuff that was sticky? I forget if we mentioned that.
Yeah, it was more like the goop from Matthew than anything.
Okay. I will then ask. Well, the moths seem to congregate around, and I'll describe the thing that I destroyed quite thoroughly in what's his name's home? In
Ips.
Kip's home. Yep.
Yep, Heimwinkel. I haven't seen anything like that. That sounds. He kind of shudders and just thought. I don't know what's going on, Turner, but I worry for you. I feel I'm betraying Mr. Kraus by telling you this, but well, I fear for your safety. You've been digging into what happened to your brother, and I cannot say I blame you, but you need to stop. You need to stop what you're doing. That
Why is that?
Well, I can take care of myself, Jonathan, but if you've heard something, I need to know it. Be prepared.
nothing so particular. You kind of seems uncomfortable around the constable a little. Keeps like kind of glancing at you, like,
Constable, you mind, just for a second, I'll say. Just so, can't be brought up later. In front of, others. I'll kind of give him a somewhat crooked smile.
Well,
Just don't want it being used to, how to phrase this? Brought up on the stand, so to speak. I'll say.
if there's danger afoot, I need to know about it.
look,
All
I'm not
right.
trying to get anyone in trouble or implicate anyone in anything. It just, well, you're pushing too many people, Turner. You need to just forget about what's going on.
People are dead. We're not going to be giving up on anything.
Plus, Jonathan, until I know about me brother, and, well, I found a little bit out about Matthew, but who knows if he's dead, alive, creature of some sort, with those buggy eyes, and I'll kind of slightly describe it to see if that brings anything to the surface.
You say you found Matthew like that? No. He and your brother were lost at sea.
That vial you're holding or looking at, part of Matthew, or part of what happened after I tied him up, looked the other way, and then he was a puddle.
I don't know about any of this. I'm just worried for you, Turner.
In what way? I can take care of myself. Even Barrett's scared to come at me. But if there's something else I need to know about it, they're planning to jump me in an alleyway of some sort, rough me up.
He looks to the constable. Look, I don't know anything. Just be careful. And he's like, I need to go. I've been away too long.
Hey, Jonathan, and I kind of stop him as you. If you see anything else in there, and be careful yourself, being in a den of vipers. But if you see anything else like I've mentioned, come find me.
Gives you like a solemn nod. Then leaves.
That's all rather strange, isn't it?
It is. Although the uncomfortable bit around the law isn't. But yes, it is still kind of much. But Krauses are up to something, even though he believes they're for the best.
Well, there's some sort of secret society going on.
Maybe two.
Maybe a disagreement with members, and that's the prompting for the murders. Maybe some members disagree with what they're doing and are threatening to go public with it, and they kill them off, or people who've seen too much.
Perhaps. I do have an idea, though, I'll say.
Anything at this point in time would be news.
Good. Hopefully it's not too cagey for you. And I kind of immediately open the back door of the post office and go in.
Just before you could say anything, you're just gone.
Typical Turner.
Yeah. I'm going to describe the point of what I'm going to try and do, and you tell me what I need to do. I'm going to look through everyone's mail that I so far have as a suspect to try and find information. Since I'm already here.
Yeah.
Is the post office open at the moment?
So, from what I heard, it is, but maybe that will help me in terms of busyness and being quiet. But we'll see.
Yeah. Now you can each roll investigation if you're gonna do that.
Okay, it's within my human capabilities. Is it within my occupational expertise? Probably not. And
It
It's
then,
with
probably
me.
would be in the constables though.
Yep.
and I will say it definitely was in. Is probably in terms of my my
Being
oh, what is it?
brazen.
Being
or-
brazen, yeah.
Yeah, whatever your flaw.
So I'll just roll the second dice there. Or do I need to? I need to somehow distinguish it, right? So I'll roll it as my green dice. It won't drive me more insane, but just so we know it's the red dice.
Yeah. Are either of you gonna use an insight? Or I mean
No,
no, you're not.
I'm
Constable?
still pretty close. So
There you go.
that's pretty good. Didn't get any supernatural, but humanly possible.
I didn't get too
So I slightly have to remember what the red dice does.
It's your highest dice. It cancels itself in your next highest out.
Oh, okay. No, it's my lowest, so that's good.
Yeah. All right. So you find an outgoing letter. I'm assuming it's kind of like you're like breaking into an area you shouldn't be almost and looking in the outgoing mail. And you
Yep.
find correspondence from Kraus to Osmond Deshane, the mayor of Mucky Point. And it's very cryptic, but it essentially reads that their deal is sealed. And Kingston will be a welcome addition. Constable, you find discarded letters that have been. You find the postage, basically, that the letter's been taken out of already, but it's from. There's been a lot of correspondence from Hawthorne to kind of foreign names that you and foreign places all over the world that you don't know or recognize.
If it's not clear, I'm going to pocket this letter that I have pilfered. And continue to look, I guess, unless I am stopped.
That's really all you would find.
Gotcha. Okay.
By the way,
Yeah.
the picture of Hawthorne, is he meant to have 6 fingers on his left hand, or is that AI flaw?
Oh, good old AI.
I only just noticed it. He has
I
5
know,
fingers
yeah,
and, well, I assume he has a thumb. You can't see it.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah, that's a hint of it.
um, do I see? Well, actually, I guess I could probably. Is there enough people to kind of sneak into the front now and pretend to blend in with the crowd a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do that.
I will do so and then get to the front of the post office, whoever runs the post office.
Is the post
Post
office
office
still
also
open?
has a phone, a single phone, and it's the only one in town.
Okay. Other than I'm assuming some private phones on certain properties.
You might assume that, yeah. The man behind the desk, you know pretty well, named Virgil. Oh, Mr. O'Neill, good to see you. Do you have a letter to deliver?
Aye, but I don't know where it would be. Do you know where to send mail for a new fella in town? Had to sneeze there.
What do you mean?
Is
Ivan.
is there- is he yes, an Eric Iben.
Well, I believe Miss Dearborn has a friend by that name who she's been corresponding with via telegraph. I think
Aye,
he's in town even. He was
aye.
here earlier, actually. He sent out a letter.
Oh, did he now? I could okay. Just before I put this, I'm going to assume that I know this is not something normally that happens, that you ask to see people's letters.
No.
Um oh, well, could you perhaps grab it so I can see the mail-in address? Maybe, because obviously it has to be returned someplace, no? So, I'll say.
Well, this is. I do not think it's appropriate to let you see someone else's mail. I'm sorry, Mr. O'Neill.
I'm not asking for the mail, just the address on it. You see.
Hmm. He goes in the back for a second and comes out with a sealed envelope, and it appears there is no return address. It's actually, um, it's not necessarily a letter. It's more of a package.
Huh.
But he doesn't really let you look at it. He's looking at it.
And I'll say, well, that's not proper procedure, Virgil. You know, I'm assuming Virgil's a stickler for the rules. He can correct me. Well, that's not proper procedure. It needs the return address.
Um, if it doesn't make it to its destination, it's not really my problem if he doesn't want to put a return address on it.
Well, then it'll come back to you, and then it is your problem. They'll know it came here. And then you're stuck with it
Perhaps.
regardless.
He just kind of shrugs his shoulders.
I'll say, now here, I could be doing you a favor. And I'll kind of lean in. I could bring it to Miss Dearborn, who I'm sure knows maybe, since we have no address apparently. And she can write it on there. And then we solve both of our problems.
This is a bit unorthodox, Mr. O'Neill, and besides I'm awaiting a carrier this evening. Mr. Iban was quite clear it needs to go out as soon as possible. He, sets it under the desk.
Oh, Turner kind of he's still leaning on the desk and kind of looks at the constable, because at this point I don't know where constable is actually. I don't know if he's still in the back room.
He stepped outside and realized that this could be the end of his career, and instead he's on the street, actually,
Gotcha.
looking around, trying to understand this alliance that he's just made with you. What the hell is it done?
Turner's in for a penny, in for a pound, and he's pretty brazen. I'm assuming Virgil's gonna have to go deal with other individuals real quick before closing time.
No, he seems pretty content, just kind of sitting there, behind the desk. There's a people. He actually would then be like there's kind of a line forming behind you. And Mr. Turner, please, we're closing soon. Or Mr. O'Neill, please, I must address these other customers.
Kind of go. All right, Virgil. All right, and I kind of move out of the way. Is he so involved that I might be able to reach over the counter and grab it without him looking?
No, he put it like right by him and then didn't move. He's kind of standing. You can tell there's some sort of shelf or box underneath, like right where he's standing, that he had set it in.
Oh. All right. Mental note for later.
Give me one moment.
I would ask, though. And what time was he in here, by the way?
Say that again.
I will ask though in that conversation before he abruptly ends it. And what time was Mr. Iben here dropping off a package?
Oh, it was a few hours ago. Maybe just after lunch.
Is that before or after I was with him? I'm trying to pin time.
After.
You said
Yeah,
after?
you were kind of with him kind of in the late morning.
Okay, so he hasn't been nabbed at least. That's good news. Maybe. Maybe he's a bad guy. Who knows?
The only thing you did know about him is that he told you he's staying at the seaside, really.
What time is it? Do I need to go to my special meeting or do I have time?
No, it's only like 6 p.m. at this point.
Okay. I feel like I need to go to the seaside for the reporter and for him. So off to the seaside we go. This planning turn needs a drink.
What time of the day is it?
6 p.m. or so.
Although I'm assuming I get outside and I see the constable and I go, "You found anything interesting?"
Trying to find my career that seems to be fading, but
Well, won't be fading if you bring down a big scheme. And I kind of pull out a letter a little bit. Go, found practical admittance of the murder of poor fellow over there.
what?
I'll let him read it, preferably not in the middle of the square. Probably on the way to the seaside.
Yeah, you're just kind of walking through town.
And just due to the warning from Jonathan, I'm going to have my head on a swivel. So I don't get mugged. Although, traveling with a constable probably helps.
Yeah.
Now,
Do you need a reminder of what's in the note?
I do.
Yeah, it basically is from Kraus to Osmond Deshane in Mucky Point, saying their deal is good and that his son will be how
A
did I phrase
welcome
it?
addition.
A welcome addition, yeah.
Who was saying his son?
Kraus about Deshane's son, who was the man you found dead in the alley with his eyes gouged out.
I don't know what you think, Constable. That's a pretty big admittance to me.
All right, and this combined with strange things going on in the lower levels of the mansion, strange creatures. We need to investigate that mansion.
Aye. Although getting in is going to be a problem.
Um,
To be fair, they won't let me within 50 yards of the place.
I'm going to need this letter, and I'm going to get a search warrant.
Would well,
Would they have
I'm
search warrants
assuming
at
I
this
have.
time period? Hold on, would they not? I don't think they
Well, I'm just
would.
wondering who you. I'm just wondering who you would bring it to, because
Yeah, well, it's
is
all
there a
hit me.
judge in town? Well, you probably bring it to your sheriff friend, who's pretty
Uh,
inept.
Yeah, that's not going to do us any good.
And then I don't know who would be above the sheriff, if anyone. Is it the mayor, who's now dead? Is there a law person in town? Well, I guess there's a lawyer, which is George Stern, but I don't think he's a judge that could execute such a thing.
No, but his advice is somebody I've depended upon quite a bit, and I need to go and talk to him.
Aye.
Right.
You can keep the letter, but I basically got it memorized. I'll kind of point to my head.
Where are you headed?
I'm headed to the seaside. I've got a few people I need to find and talk to. What are you thinking about going?
Well, I'm wondering if they made progress on that autopsy. And I really feel I need to talk to George.
Well, you'd probably have more luck there, Constable. And, while I appreciate your company, no offense, not a lot of people are willing to open up with the law around. I'll say just a matter of factly.
No, I understand that, and if this is some sort of secret society, who knows how far it's reached into this, into the different people who make up this community. You know, sometimes I think Boston is a place I should have stayed in.
Maybe, but then you'd have to deal with other crazies of other sorts. And I'll
Yeah,
kinda
but it's
laugh.
craziness that I knew about. I thought this would be a nice, cozy life, but it's not panning out that way. Right.
Sometimes
Well,
the path you take to avoid it leads right to it, and I'll say. Sometimes the quicker.
well, perhaps we'll meet up a little bit later this evening.
Aye. I think it's the safest place to sleep nowadays. Meet me at the church around, let's see, what would be enough time to give me space? 1 o'clock. Because that would be 12, add an hour, talking. Yeah. 1 o'clock.
Oh boy, at some point I need to get some sleep.
I'll say 1 a.m. to you might be.
Yeah.
It might be something to the constable, however, Turner's just been up all night, every night. He slept in the church, slept on a ship.
Mm. All right, I'll see you there. Oh my God.
Kind of nod at him, and away I go. So I don't know which scene is simpler, but go ahead.
We'll go with the constable first. So you're going back to the doctor's office?
Yes, I am.
George and Dan are still there. But they appear to have finished, and they're sitting in the lobby having some tea. Do you knock on the door or just go in?
No, I knock. Definitely. No, this is the doctor's office. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So the doctor, Dan, comes and opens the door. Oh, constable. Hello again. Please come in.
Yes.
We were just getting ready to go speak with Ed. Aside
About
from
what?
well, aside from the missing eyes, it appears that Mr. Deshane died of natural causes, seeming like a heart attack.
How old is he? Was he?
Not quite 30. A young man's, to be sure.
Bit young for a heart attack, don't you think?
Oh, yes. But not unheard of.
Huh.
The residue left on his body, well, it seems to be quickly dissolving. It's almost nearly gone.
That's... Yeah, I don't even think I can be surprised anymore. George just sat there as well.
Yeah. I wish we could have been more help, Constable. I do not know that we've gleaned any helpful information from this autopsy. Though, as a litigator, I do find the removal of the eyes to be rather indicative of foul play.
Yes, there are stories of crazed murderers collecting pieces of their victims. You hear about it on the force.
Dr. Dearborn seems like really agitated, and is like, nothing like this has ever happened in our tiny town. Like, why? What could this be? Who could be doing this? It's sick.
Yeah, I think there are things about this quiet little town going on underneath the surface. I'm not sure who we can trust. I trust you, George. You've always been there for me. You've helped me out. And I'd kind of like your opinion on something here.
I consider you a friend as well, Constable.
Wait,
What is it?
Hold on, I'm trying to get the name. Oh, dear Lord.
Are you talking about the letter?
No, the servant.
Oh, Jonathan Willoughby.
Oh, there he is. God, why did I miss him? Hold on. I just need to collect a thought. I thought I had it all here ready to go. God, I'm trying to find the Kraus. I'm at a loss at it. Where would I find the head of the Kraus?
Browns is under the Deep Reaver crew.
That's why I'm not finding it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Doesn't bear it.
All right, he's the first mate. Right. Since we parted, I've been doing some investigation. And that Turner man, he's a little bit bold. I don't know if I do say so myself, but seems to be some strange things happening at the Kraus mansion. Sounds of strange animals and weird sounds, chanting going on down in the lower levels of the mansion, the basement. Servant there is all a little bit put off by talking about it, and there's more he wouldn't tell, I'm sure. Then I found this letter. I hand it to him. Now, before you open it, I advise you We need to keep this quiet. Unofficially, I'm letting you see this.
Nods his head and looks at it. Passes it to the doctor. This is all a bit disturbing, isn't it? I know Eddington has aspirations and ambition, but this seems. You speak of chanting and sounds of animals from the Cross Mansion basement. It just seems very implausible.
Well, Turner mentioned it, chanting as well. He heard it. It was last night, the night before. There's some sort of weird religion, weird secret society, Masons. I don't know. Oh, there's foul play.
The doctor passes the note back to you. And Mr. O'Neill and the father came to me yesterday, and they had with them what I can only call a hybrid of beast and man. And they claimed it was Matthew Walsh. It was almost sickening. It was amphibious, reptilian. It reeked, and it had gnarled teeth and sharp claws, and couldn't speak, though it was unconscious.
I described the footprints. Would you say its feet would match this description of footprints? The claws spread apart this far? And I kind of indicate with my hands the size.
Yeah. Yes, that seems to match. Then I fetched Ed, and we returned here, and the thing was gone. There was not but a puddle of water where Mr. Turner claimed he had left it. It was all very disturbing. I'm trying to forget about it, but perhaps there's something more going on here.
Ever had any dealings up at the Kraus Mansion? Any doctor visits?
I perform a monthly checkup on the Kraus family. Yes, I do make house calls for those living up in high society. But I've never heard any chanting or seen anything out of the ordinaries. The Kraus are a well-respected family, close ties with Mr. Hawthorne. If it weren't for them, there would be no town. George would kind of agree with this almost and say, as the only attorney in Brindlewood Bay, and Mucky Point for that matter, which is how I recognized poor Kingston here, I know the Kraus to be, I know he's not well respected by many in the town, but I don't find him to be an evil person, merely an entitled one.
People change. Maybe physically
Perhaps
as
so.
well as mentally.
I think I will travel to Mucky Point and speak with Osmond myself about, deliver the news about his son. Perhaps
Is this George
dig a
or the
little
doctor?
deeper. This is George.
Okay.
May I keep this letter and take it with me to see him?
Guard it. I wouldn't I'd be very cautious on who you let know that you've got it. I don't exactly have it through official means.
I understand. I'll protect your good name, Constable. We're lucky to have you in our small town.
But, George, before you head out, Ed Blatz is... I don't even think it's even worth my time talking to him. I don't expect to have any help or insight. And I feel like I need to pay a visit to this mansion. And I'm sure that crazy Turner will go with me, but... I wonder if I couldn't invite you to join us. In case I run into some funny business. Tough crowd.
Well, Mr. Kraus may not appreciate being interrogated by you. I suppose it would perhaps help smooth things over if I came along. I would not travel to Monkey Point until the morning anyways.
I wasn't planning to make my visit official.
Oh, I see.
Or known to the occupants if I can avoid it.
That may be difficult. He has quite a few men employed, most of which live in the mansion or in the area around it.
Oh, dear.
I'm also just gonna say the doctor went back at this point into with the body of Osmond or Kingston, and so he's not here listening to this.
Small town. We don't have a police force that we need to take care of these things.
As an attorney, sir, I do not think you should be telling me these intentions of yours.
You're a
I
friend.
would suggest a formal approach. I know you do not think highly of Ed, and yes, he very well may be out of his depth with this. But if you wish to get more information about all of this, wouldn't it not be best to ask Mr. Kraus directly?
If he's involved in some sort of secret society, number one, he's going to be, brush us off. Number two, he's going to know we're onto him, and then it's going to be even harder to find anything out. People are very tight-lipped around here, I've found out. They don't seem to respect the law.
It's a small community.
It isn't the direction of investigation I have been known to go by. And I haven't made my decision yet. It's just something I'm thinking about. But there's few I can trust. And you're one of them. You've helped me out on many investigations. And your judgment is one that I respect.
I appreciate our bond and have respect for you as well, Constable, but I do not think I can be a part of any sort of sneak thievery. We are both men of the law, and I know you are a man of I forget the word, but conviction. If you wish for me to act in a legal capacity, I will accompany you to speak with Mr. Kraus. But if you wish to investigate in secrecy, I fear I cannot be a part of it.
Well, it's not a decision I have made. It's just, I'm thinking out loud.
Of course. It is getting late. My wife awaits me for supper. I will go to Mucky Point in the morning and see what I can discover. Let us meet at the seaside tomorrow evening.
You look after yourself, George. Who knows what this mayor knows? You could be in on it.
You too, William. Shakes her hand and leaves.
And I bid my farewell to the doctor. Thank him for his service. And what time of the day is it? Evening, is it?
Yeah, probably getting on towards 8 o'clock at this point.
Okay. I'm going to walk the town. I'm going to walk a beat
Sure. Ooh, okay.
to collect my thoughts. And awaiting the time when I meet with Turner later.
Okay, we'll do Turner's scene and then we'll come back to you and have you do an investigation.
All right.
Where were you going first, Mr. O'Neill?
I was going to the seaside because I need to find Icon, and then also hopefully talk to this reporter that we have yet to talk to at all. Because she might be better at putting clues together than I.
You know that she's staying at the seaside, so you find her there. She's having dinner. Let's see if I can. Oh, here she is. Sarah Bernard. She is sitting with. Oh gosh, where is he? Patton Dalwymple, a local handyman, who just is very boisterous and uses his hands a lot while speaking and is known to be just a really reliable, easygoing, jovial person, and they're just kind of laughing and eating dinner together.
Being Turner, I'm just gonna immediately grab a few drinks, pull up a chair with my foot, and sit down.
And then this is Dalwymple. He goes, Mr. O'Neill, so good to see you.
Good to see you. Probably use first names more than last names. Hey, how do you do, Pat?
Well, it's a new year and a new me.
How so?
Well, I just signed a new contract with Mr. Hawthorne. He needs some work done around the house. You know, I actually signed something he called a non-disclosure agreement, though. I can't really talk about it. But, my, is he paying me a handsome sum. Have you met, Miss Prescott here?
No, can't say I have.
I'm sorry, Miss Bernard.
Can't say I have. Nice to meet you, Turner O'Neill. And I'll kind of give a charming smile and hold out my hand.
She shakes it. And she definitely is not acting like a coy kind of woman at all. She's got some gumption and holds her head and shoulders high, and she has, kind of smiles at you. Mr. O'Neill, was it?
Indeed.
And what is
Heard
it
you
you
were-
do here in town?
Oh, I'm a sailor. Do some fishing, do some sailing, do what needs doing. Just kind of like
see.
Patton here a little bit, but more with the water. I kind of give a chuckle.
Yes, Mr. Dalrymple has been very nice and helpful introducing me around the town. He's practically been a personal tour guide for me.
Well, that's Patton, always useful, always helpful. Quite handy in any situation. Who have you gone seen? Heard you were writing a story of some sort? Gonna pretend to act coy myself.
Oh yes, the Deep Reaver is quite fascinating to me. The rest of the media that was here all left after the lunch, but I knew there would be a story waiting on its return, and well, to be perfectly honest, the quaint life of Brindlewood Bay I find rather appealing after living in the big city for so long. I work for the Boston Globe. I'd love to get an interview with you as a sailor in the town. Tell me, what do you know of the Deep Reaver?
Well, they say it's a state-of-the-art ship, but I feel like we need to talk more thoroughly than over dinner, so to speak.
I'd be available in the morning for an interview.
I'd be more than open to that. Unless you find it pressing to do tonight, although I have a meeting at 12.
You keep late hours.
I do. I keep busy. Especially with the loss of me brother and all, I'll say.
Dalrymple says, now, Turner, it's very impolite to be proposing a woman meet you at midnight.
Well, I'd say she
And
speaks
whatever.
I'd say she speaks for herself. Patton. And I kind of look
You
at
old
her.
dog. Don't mind him, Miss Bernard. He's quite harmless, but a little rough around the edges. She goes, well, a midnight meeting is not something I'm totally unaccustomed to as an investigative reporter, but not tonight. I'm quite tired.
That's fair. Well, Patton, you could probably help me with this. You seen a new feller? Quite fancy about the edges. Top hats. Well, had a top hat. I guess I still have his top hat, don't I?
Yep.
What do you call it? A well-cut mustache. Goes by the name of Ivan.
Can't say that I do, but I've been up in high society all day, and he kind of like almost seems really proud of it, and bragging.
Well, that's better than most. What was I gonna say? There's someone else I wanted to mention.
She would say, "Oh, I believe I know who you're speaking of. Yes, he is also I met him earlier today. He only arrived this morning, and his room is just near mine here at the seaside.
Ah, is it?
I believe his
Which
name was
one?
Mr. Ivan."
Perhaps I'll give him a knock. If you could lead me to the doormat.
She kind of blushes and is like, "If you wish to walk me to my room, I won't say no." And she'll stand up and kind of give Dalrymple just a little curtsy. "Mr. Dalrymple, always a pleasure. I'll see you for breakfast." I wouldn't miss it. And he stands up and kind of wipes the food off of his beard and claps you on the back, Turner, and is like, tomorrow is my big day up at Hawthorne Mansion. I must get some rest so I'm well readied for all the work Mr. Hawthorne is paying me to do. And he'll leave.
Well, indeed. Well, Patton, you're a good sort, so I'm going to give you some advice. If it gets a little weird or strange up there, you can always come to me.
See what I mean? Rough around the edges. He says to the woman. Bernard. What was her first name? Crap. Sarah Bernard, Boston Globe reporter. Okay. She leads you up to the second floor of the seaside and walks to her door and points out Ivan's room. I appreciate the escort, Mr. Turner. It was very nice to meet you. Let's have that interview tomorrow.
Wouldn't miss it, Matt. I'll see you tomorrow, and everyone's needing escorts nowadays. The town's getting stranger, I'll say. Batten down the hatches of doors and windows, I'll say. Almost as advice. Strangely, almost serious.
Yes, there's rumors of a hurricane moving in. I did not think that was normal for this part of the bay.
It ain't, I'll say. But strange things have been happening, so I wouldn't rule it out. I'll kind of look out I'm assuming, nearby window.
I'm very eager to hear more about these happenings you speak of tomorrow.
Indeed.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'll open the door for her.
He smiles at you and closes it.
And, his charming face still there for a second, but he drops it and then moves to go to Ivan's room with a quick step. And it being close, you see Turner's not much of a knocking man. Door unlocked? Or first, I guess, do I hear anything before I unlock it? If it is.
You don't hear anything inside if you listen at the door, kind of put your ear to it, and you find that it is locked.
Kind of bang on it for a second.
No response.
This is the second floor, you said, right?
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have a lockpick kit. Question is, would I force this door?
It was at the end of the hall, and there's not really... You might feel... it'll definitely make noise if you try to force it open, but you feel like you could, and that you might not be heard doing so.
Could I try to... because I assume if I force it, it's just gonna be broken. But, could I try unlocking it subtly? The old there's no credit card trick, but you know what I mean. Try shifting the bar or whatever is holding it in, or well, I guess they have keyholes, so it'd probably still be a key, huh?
Yeah. You wouldn't really know any subtle way of opening the door.
Yeah. My only thought is if they have spares downstairs, but probably snag one of those, but that requires some other checks. I'll just do a brazen thing and force the door. It's in his wheelhouse, I'd say.
Yeah. You are pretty easily able to just break this door open. It makes a noise that's fairly loud, but if you go in quick enough, you're able to shut it. without being seen, you hope.
Yep.
Inside, this is what you see. Candelabras with lit, burning candles. There are all sorts of odd tools. It smells mildly of sulfur. It appears as if Ivan has been doing some sort of experiments. Kind of these strange alchemical kits. And on his desk is a scattering of books.
Huh. Did he mention what did he say he was an occultist or something? I can't remember.
Nope. He strictly said that he's a professor of anthropology.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look at things and see if anything sticks out. I mean, obviously this is all strange, but something that doesn't look like it belongs, or something that looks similar to something I have, or then I will go through the books.
So okay, let's do your investigation roll first then.
Okay. Also, I would hopefully like to search for hidden things in terms of like if he hid a box under somewhere. I feel like this is a room that would do that. So, if a task human, I'd say this is
Gonna
pretty
do it.
brazen per usual.
Yeah, you broke in. So
All right. Alrighty. 5. Still everything humanly possible. Waiting for the mysterious, but human is good.
you find under his bed a journal.
Okay.
And you open it to the most recent entry. And it reads, oozing and surging, an unbelievable behemothhic monstrosity that I could not doubt. I might call it gigantic, tentacled, proboscidean, octopuside, semi-amorphous, plastic, partly squamous and partly rugose. But nothing I could say could even adumbrate the loathsome, unholy, non-human, extragalactic horror and hatefulness and unmutterable evil of that forbidden spawn of black chaos and illimitable night. As I write these words, the associated mental image causes me to lean back nauseated.
So it seems like he's describing the creature we saw at the docks. Okay. And that's all for this entry.
Yes.
If I go back an entry or two, I mean, can I get a gist of the journal?
You find a section. Oh, what the heck? Give me 1 second. Oh, okay. He's written the words Papyrus of the Dark Wisdom. It consists of a treatise of considerable length on theogony. It discusses the hidden origins of the earth, the creation of the first of the old ones, the cause of their rebellion against the elder gods, the war between the two groups of divinities, the flight into this dimension of space-time by the old ones, and so on. If these writings are to be believed, then the universe as we know it is greatly different than we imagine.
Do I see a book labeled this?
You do not, but on the desk, you find a book called The Liber des Bonnes. and it's spelled like his name is pronounced.
Oh, like okay. So Lieber is,
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's spelled, and then Daybon like Ivan, but with a D.
D apostrophe Ivan.
Yeah.
You kind of open and go through it, and it appears to be just ramblings of a madman. Nothing in it seems to make sense. And if you like skim through his journal, you find an entry on it, and it reads, after reading the text in its entirety several times over, I have found connections and twists within the insight of the author. I suspect this person, Iban, has traveled to other dimensions and perhaps even interacted with a being called Sathagua, whom he calls the Great Wizard. Inside, I have also discovered a spell for the emanation of Yoth that requires a child's blood and a method of giving people something called the Green Decay.
Okay. Green Decay. Okay. Does it describe what this is if I cross-reference it with the book? Even though it seems like the ravings of a madman? Like, it doesn't describe the creatures we've been seeing perfectly, does it?
Without more time to really dig through it, you wouldn't really be able to find it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna steal 2 more books. What's this to my conscience? Um,
Um,
and anything else from his journal linking to the books on the on the table, or whatever these experiments rituals are on his other table?
the only other notable book is what appears to be a dictionary in his own handwriting. And you, while flipping through it, you find a page covered in illegible symbols. But when you come back to it, it's not there. And I'm going to have you make an insight roll after all of this.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Are
Just
you at 5 yet? I can't
I'm at
remember.
4.
Okay,
I got down to 4, thankfully.
that's right.
Quick question though. On the quick disappearing symbols, Mark, was one of them labeled gate? Like, did it look exactly like the symbol I had on the rock?
You would have, yeah, that symbol would have been notable to you in there.
Okay. Good. This will help. Yay.
You're keeping it together as usual. Fucking Turner is made of iron.
Sure is.
Iron Mind. So if I go back, do I still see the? Can I see the symbols again, or the like?
Every time you look for it, it appears to, it's not where you saw it before.
But I can still find it. Can I cross-reference those symbols with the Ankh? Because there's symbols on the Ankh, right?
You would find similar symbols, but nothing exact.
Could I try to match it as close as I could?
Not if you're rushing to get in and out of there. It would take some
Okay.
time going through it.
Well, another thing to the list. I'll just kind of put all these in my endless jacket knapsack. And nothing cross-referencing the table of oddities there. In terms of his journal. Like him mentioning a ritual he was casting or protective ward or something, and nothing on the table that looks like these. It's like lists these ingredients. They're all smattered across his desk.
No.
Okay. Well, and nothing. I mean, they all look odd to me, but again, nothing that sticks out in terms of the ritual alchemical components or smells
Not
familiar.
really. It would seem really foreign to you. You like kind of looking at it, cannot tell at all what he's trying to do.
Okay. Well, I feel like this is appropriate. I'm assuming he has paper in here and a pen of some sort, quill, whatever have you.
Yeah.
I'm going to write, "We need to meet up." Leave it in his hat, and leave it on his bed. And
Would you write a time and place on it?
yeah, you know what? We're gonna keep the theme going. I'm gonna put the church and I don't know. Do I want to meet him? Well, I have a meeting at the church at 12. She said the morning. I'm assuming we want to do this clandestinely. So I'm going to say the middle of the night / early morning. I'm going to give like a morning hour that usually people should not meet at. Like, I don't know, like 3 or something ridiculous.
Yeah. The witching hour.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I'm out of there.
Let's move to the constable.
By that time, I'd probably need to head to the church, right? Would it be nearing 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Give a nice little piece of meat to the bloodhound again. What's her name? I forget it. Before I go.
Sarah Bernard.
No, not the reporter. I'm not giving a piece of meat.
The literal bloodhound.
Here you go, babe. Some raw meat for you.
I think I added it to her to citizens.
Betty.
Oh,
There
Betty.
it is.
Betty. Here's Betty.
Oh, there's Betty. Turner's her favorite person.
All right, Constable Huxley, you are wandering through town, kind of going through all of these discoveries in your head. Let's just start with an investigation roll.
All right.
I think your specialty obviously applies. Are you going to use an insight dice?
So I have insight of 1 at the moment. Remind me what this means. If I roll higher than that, my insight goes up.
Yes.
Oh God.
Well, so if you use an insight dice on a roll and it's your highest number, you make an insight roll. And if it's higher than 1, your insight goes up.
Oh.
And then at my discretion, I can have you roll insight just to see if it rolls higher than your current insight and make it go up or not.
But what if it's not my highest number, but it's above a 1? Because a 1 is what I've got.
Nope. If you add it into your roll, it just gives you an extra dice, and only if it's your highest dice roll do you make an official insight roll to try and to see if your insight goes up.
Well, I will risk my mind then, because the risks are pretty low for right now.
Take a step into the waters, my friend.
So it's not my highest dice.
You are wandering town, and you pass by the Sweet Sensations Bakery. Let's see, it's about 8 or 9 p.m. at this point. And you see movement inside, and you almost hear what sounds like a scuffle going on, and some kind of, almost as if a fight's breaking out in there. But there's no lights on, and you smell this horrid stench as if you're in the marina.
Is it a stench that I smelt when I followed that guy into the alley and I found the body plastered to the wall? Okay, I'm going right in. Billy clubbing my... No. Billy clubbing my left hand, and I've drawn my Colt revolver in my right hand.
Would you yell out for Miss Blair, or would you try to be quiet going in?
I wouldn't be quiet. I'd be very police like, this is the police, I'm coming in.
Yep.
Miss Blair.
The door is open. It's unlocked. You go in, and you're just immediately hit in the face by this horrible smell of sweat and urine and rotting flesh.
Ew.
You see a shadow in the far corner that you swear was something large crawling in the shadows. And there's a back door, and the door opens and kind of, it's like a swinging door, and it looked as if something just rushed through it, but you only saw the shadow of some, but it wasn't moving in like a man would. It was almost on all fours.
I move fast towards it.
You burst through, and inside you find Georgina in her nightgown, sipping on tea with a few candles lit and reading a book in a lounge chair. My gosh, officer, constable, what are you doing? And she kind of quickly jumps up and like tries to cover herself with a blanket. She wasn't like really showing anything off, but you know, she's in her nightgown.
Is this the only room that it could have come into?
Yes.
Did you not see a creature run through here?
I'm also going to have you make an insight roll really quick for that. And your insight goes up.
God damn it. Here we go.
A creature? What are you talking about? No, this
Smell
is
of
my
rotting
home.
fish. Do I still smell it?
No, it's like all back to, it's almost totally normal. Almost just smells like baked bread again. This is highly uncharacteristic and uncalled for, Constable, but you can't just come barging into people's residences.
Now, ma'am, I heard a scuffle going on, and I'm doing my job. I thought you were in danger. And I know what I saw.
Scuffle. No, I'm here alone.
Quick question. Georgina is Jeff's girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Oh boy.
I forget who Jeff is. Is that Turner's brother?
The missing brother I have that's probably a creature.
Aha. Is there any footprints in here? Any water?
Nothing. Constable, this is quite uncalled for. I must ask you to leave, please. I'm just getting ready for bed.
Well, you may not have seen a creature, but I did. And I will leave as soon as I make sure that everything is all secure. Which
You seem just
will not be-
exasperated, and it's like, if you must.
Is there any other exits out of this room? I'm just looking. I'm not asking that. I'm looking.
Nope. It's she seems to like live in the back of the bakery. It's like a small apartment basically. And there's only one door in and out of the entire building, which is a one-story building.
What? So the front room is the bakery, then the back room is just where she lives.
Exactly.
All right. No open windows.
There is one window, but it is tightly sealed.
I look under the bed. I look in, if there's a closet, I look in a closet.
Give us another investigation roll. Are you going to use an insight dice?
I am. Oh my God, there it is.
Whoa, there it is. Okay, first make an insight roll because it was your highest dice.
Well,
Alright,
for
you're
once
keeping
I'm
it together.
keeping it together.
underneath her bed is, as you lift up the sheet and kind of bend over, a swarm of disgusting crawling insects just begins flooding out from under the bed. And you get that reeking smell in your face again, and she screams at the top of her lungs.
Do you smell that?
And then you feel something almost come out of nowhere, and it seems as if this force comes out from under the bed and knocks you on your ass. But you didn't actually see anything. You just see this four-legged shadow that disappears almost as quickly as it appeared and physically knocked into you. And she continues screaming. And you make another insight roll. And the swinging door is slowly just kind of moving as if something went through it again.
Right. Oh, yes.
And you hear some sort of chanting coming from outside the building, which you think you shouldn't hear because of the window being so closed, but it sounds like it's right outside the window. You hear this.
Well, roleplay my fear. I believe everything will be okay if everyone just follows the law. That's my flaw. So I think my fear would manifest in boldly running after it, like to control it, even if doing so is dangerous. Why do I get the impression I'm going to have my third character here really soon? But my God, that
So you rush outside after it.
Average one character per session. Yes, I rush outside. That's what I would do. Stay here. I'll look into this.
You see humanoid, shadowy figures rushing off into the darkness away from the bakery, and you catch a glimpse of a flat golden mask on one of them as they rush off into the alleys.
I give chase.
I thought you might.
I have my pistol, my revolver. Right hand, billy club in left hand with leather strap wrapped around my wrist to keep it in place. Just in case you're getting any ideas of disarming.
You give chase after these figures. All right, another investigation.
All right.
Oh my gosh, you and your sixes.
I know it.
At least it wasn't your insight roll that did it this
No.
time. Let's see. You move into a dark alley, and you're like always just on the verge of catching up to one of the figures, and they seem to have split in different directions, but they keep turning, and you're running at high speed after one, and you're just always barely missing it as it turns a corner. When you end up back in the marina, where there's not a lot of activity, but there is some. It is evening. You know, it's 9 p.m. The thunder and rain are... The thunder's booming, rain is pouring. And you kind of come to a stop. You've lost sight of who you were chasing, but you also see that the beast that was brought back by the Deep Reaver is gone. It's not on the platform anymore.
I don't see anybody or a thing.
No, there's nobody around it. There's probably just like a few fishermen in the marina who are like gathering up the end of day sort of stuff and like leaving. It's mostly abandoned there. Just a little bit of activity. And
I speak out loud to myself. Oh, William, you've lost it now. This is it. This is how a career ends.
tendrils of fog are just coiling around the marina. And you hear this whispering, unintelligible whispering, kind of coming from the platform area where the beast had been. And on it, you just find 2 eyeballs on the platform that appear to have been, extracted from someone. And they're even like the whole, in the movies when you see someone like pull an eyeball out, it's got the whole like little end part attached. It's not just the eye itself, it's
the optic nerve and muscle
everything
fibers.
behind it. Exactly.
I have a feeling I know who those belong to.
All right, roll an insight.
Oh dear, here it is.
We got to catch you up to Turner.
Oh, Jesus
God
Christ.
dang it. There you go. You're both at 4 now. What do you do next?
How to gather the evidence.
Lord above! What the hell is going on? I'm shouting this. What the hell is going on in this town? I'm sure the sailors that are working there just look up. Oh my dear, what's going on with the constable? I'm going to take a handkerchief out of my pocket, which I'm sure, everybody carried one at this time. And I'm going to gather up those eyeballs, kind of fold it up as best I can. And what time is it?
Probably going on 10 now. Probably be a little later even.
I'm going to go to the doctor's.
Because I remember you started kind of walking around town at 9 p.m., so you're getting on 11 o'clock now, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm going to the doctor's. However inappropriate it is to come at this night. I'm going to bang on the door. Because I'm still scared and adrenaline just... I forget his name. Dearborn, is it? No.
Yep.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The clinic is uncharacteristically locked and dark. It appears to be completely sealed up.
I'm with my fist. I'm banging. Dan, wake up! Probably waking up
No
people in the area.
response.
I look around. The church. All right, and I'm running as best as my 45-year-old self will take me. Having to stop every now and then because I'm just out of breath. And I probably still have the pistol. And no, I would have. Let's see. When I picked up, no, I would have sheathed the pistol when I picked up the eyeballs, but I would have had the billy club still in my hand. So I've still got it as I run into the church.
As you open the door of the church, you almost feel as if you walk into
Hell.
a pitch black space. The utter silence chills you. And you find yourself standing at the bottom of the ocean in complete stillness. You hear and feel nothing. The water crushes and envelops you, but you breathe easy as your eyes peer into the infinite darkness beyond. And then you hear the chanting.
You are trying to make me lose a second character.
It begins quiet, but builds quickly, becoming deafening in your ears.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
You notice the water around you is no longer still as thousands of finned, slimy fingers begin to reach out and suffocate you. Then the darkness is penetrated by a blood-red light as a mass of spawning bladders, alien roots, and oozing sacs floats slowly down towards you through the thick, oil-like liquid ocean. Cosmic light, as if from a nebula in the blackness of space, emanates from the many hearts of this alien entity as the chanting grows louder. And you, almost as quickly as it happened, it stops, and you find yourself just standing in the church, and Turner is next to you, like, shaking you, like, Constable, like...
I raised my billy club to hit him.
You were frozen in a trance, sort of, and had this vision.
Snap out of it, man. Snap.
So I'm just raised, billy club raised over my head, and then I finally realized that it's Turner and not anything demonic. And then I just shout right in front, "What the hell is going on around here?"
What'd you see, man?
All kinds of crazy creatures. I was at the bottom of an ocean just now. I chased some sort of shadowy four-legged creatures out of the bakery earlier.
Turner goes, eyes wide, goes, the bakery? How's Georgina? She fine?
Yeah, she didn't see anything until after I got in there. And then, oh my God. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out, here, hands you a handkerchief. I found the rest of them.
Take a look in the handkerchief. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'd say I guessed who those belong to, if the shoe fits. And I kind of let him keep those.
He kind of takes it back reluctantly. You can tell he was kind of hoping you would just keep them. But,
yeah, Turner's not a constable. He's not going to keep evidence of that sort on his person. Not to mention he has a lot of other illicit goods he has stolen and shoved into his jacket at this point.
the doctor wasn't in. I went there first before I came here.
He's not in. He's usually in at this hour.
I know.
All right. I have a meeting, and I'm going to assume it's fairly soon. I have a meeting that needs to be done. Go check on Georgina. Bring her here. She either knows something or isn't telling you.
I forgot all about
She'll
her.
tell me, though. So bring her here. And if you're going to go looking for the doctor, the only other place I'd guess is his sister or the mortician. So, one of those two places probably.
Yeah, George. Yeah, without even thinking, he
This
just
moment,
runs off. Go ahead.
I'll say even before you exit, what was his name? Sorry. Weston Hapsbury walks in, and you kind of almost run into each other. You and the constable, or he and the constable do. And he, pardon me, constable. Did Turner bring you here to? Kind of looks around nervously, like, what are you doing here?
I was trying to find somebody. Anybody. Sorry, it's investigation. Sorry, I gotta go.
He just like steps aside as you barrel past him. Turner, what the hell was that all about? You're bringing the law into this? Thought we agreed this was between us.
It is. Don't you worry, Weston. It's a church after all. People come here. Not to mention, apparently. By the way, did he give me just to be clear? Did you give me the rundown of all of what you saw? I know you mentioned a few key points, but
The creatures
like
at the bottom of the ocean, and then the shadowy shapes and the chanting
but you
at
didn't
the
mention
bakery.
the giant creature.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Also
Sorry.
that the creature was gone from the marina.
Yeah, I would have
and
mentioned
you
that too.
You also saw you were chasing someone wearing a golden mask
Yeah,
before
I
all this
mentioned
happened.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll go. Nothing. He's chasing an investigation. Somehow, your giant creature just up and disappeared. So that's a thing.
What, the Deep Reavers catch? It's not there?
No. And in its
Shakes his
place,
head.
there's some nice little gifts that someone left on a dead man, or off a dead man I saw not too long ago earlier today.
So the only other person in the church is Lancey Thune. And
Yeah,
he
I'm saying this.
comes
I'm assuming we're saying this lowly.
Yeah. He didn't hear any of it, but he does, after he watched the constable burst in and heard his outburst. Maybe not what he told you about what he saw, but when he first walked in and yelled, after his vision. And so Lancey kind of comes up to you and Weston. Turner, where is the father? I've been waiting here for him. He said he would meet me here. Where is he? He was with you.
Turner kind of. I feel like Turner, while good at lying and everything, he did feel for the father. So for a moment of sadness passes him, and he goes, "What were you going to speak with the father about, Lancey?"
Oh, it's my dreams. We shared the same dream, and I told him that Hawthorne is behind it all, that he's the cause of this, and everything. God is speaking to me. I know in my soul that I must kill Hawthorne to end all of this. And he kind of looks nervously at Weston too, but he like almost can't control himself from speaking like this.
Well, Lancey, I appreciate the enthusiasm, and while I agree they're probably to blame, we can't go randomly running off killing people until we're sure. I need to speak with you separately about this dream, but I have to speak with Weston here first. You willing to sit here and pray and wait around? And I kind of pull out the father's rosary, and I'm like, for the father.
What? Where is he? What do you mean? Where is he?
I can explain it later, but first I have to do this. Will
He
you wait?
almost starts to kind of lose control. No, you'll explain it now, Turner. I've been praying for guidance all day. The father, I was waiting for him. He said he would meet me here. Where is he?
I kind of look at Weston. Can you? You're still waiting. Well, because we're still waiting on the other guy, right? The psychic.
No, he was not planning on meeting you.
Okay.
He told you to come back to him when you were ready to perform a seance.
Okay. I thought he was preparing the seance because I didn't think he had it on hand. So that's what I could have been wrong. But I'll go. Weston, would you hold on for like 5 minutes? I'll say. Just
He nods and kind of goes to the door of the church and like peeks out, and he seems just a little like on edge also.
Weston. While looking out is good, I'd recommend keeping the door shut. I'll say. Whether he takes my advice is another matter, but that's what I will say. And then I kind of grab Lancey by the back of his jacket, and I kind of pull him into the back office.
Maybe where you had the where you had slept that night while
Yeah.
the father was researching.
Yeah.
What's going on, Turner? Where is Father Bauer?
I kind of sit down. I sit him down on the couch. I feel like that'd be better. And I kind of pull up a chair from the desk. I don't know, Lancey, and I don't know how to describe it. Because I think what happened in the visions took him.
You mean the vision's like my dream?
Yes. A red line, tentacles. Any of this sounding familiar?
No, I didn't see any kind of red line. I was
Well,
floating in the ocean, and there was a creature as big as the sky, and it spoke to me.
what did it say? Oh, kind of.
He says it, but his voice almost like distorts and sounds completely inhuman in your ears as he speaks the words. And I'm gonna have you make an insight roll.
Yeah, get a bad one like me. Go for it.
Well, we need to get the ball rolling here. So, you said insight roll to start. You said, right?
Yeah, just a flat insight, because my God, you're
Oh, I hate you so
not
much, Jacob.
completely unfazed every time.
I'm like, this tracks with all the strange shit going around. Keep it coming.
So yeah, his voice, just while speaking the words as you hear it, sounded completely inhuman. And then he continues talking and his voice just goes back to normal. So you almost question whether you actually heard it or not being
Does any of
spoken
my-
that way.
Does any of my multitude of artifacts in my pockets start buzzing?
The drum beat you feel deep inside of your mind. And he says, and then I woke. And I just knew that Hawthorne is behind it all. It was his idea to build the Deep River and go out there. He brought this back and brought this upon the town. He's the only way to stop it.
I'm assuming Lancey knows me, and I'll go to some degree, and I'll go, okay, but why Hawthorne and not Kraus or someone? They both, or what's his name, the Prescott. They all had a part in it, so why specifically Hawthorne? Why does he stick out to you? Something in your dream?
Just know it. I feel it. He is the one in charge. He's behind it all. And then there's like a quick bang at the door, and Hapsbury opens it. Turner, we have something going on out here. You better get out here.
I kind of better together. Come on, Lancey. And I kind of grab him off the couch almost, lifting him. I'm assuming he's smaller than me.
Yeah, can pick him up.
I kind of move over. What's up, Weston?
Carrying him. You go into the main room of the church, and above the dais that the father would give his sermons from is the long, glowing red break in space. This geometrical line that almost vibrates and bends unnaturally, floating in the air, seeming to take up space while taking up none at all. Weston goes, "That's it! That's what we saw out there!" Lancey drops to his knees and just hands in together begins praying relentlessly to God.
Turner kind of looks at them and goes, "You can do that, but stay back. I'm going to try something." And I kind of wrap the rosary that I'm assuming still is in my hand around my thing. Don't worry, I'm ahead of the father on this one. I pull out the journal, and I'm going to try to find those mysterious letters. By the way, is one of the artifacts buzzing? Again, I know I'm saying this, but is it still the drumbeat honk thing?
You feel the drum beat. You hear it. You can tell no one else hears it.
Okay. And just looking at my artifacts, I don't see like the dark sphere glowing. I don't see any of these things sticking out over the others. Just
Do
quickly.
you touch? Do you like grab any of them and pull them out of your jacket?
Yeah, I'm assuming I'm going through the numbers here. I'm going through the, I look at the sphere, I pull it out. I look at the honk, I pull it out.
When
See if it
you
gets a
when
reaction.
you
Sorry.
touch the sphere, you almost feel this whiplash effect, and you had this force. Feels as if it's pulling you, and you go flying through the air. And it's in a split second that this happens, but then you feel as if you're standing inside of the bakery and the church at the same moment, and you almost as if you have two minds. You're seeing both places, and the sphere begins to emit this purple glow, and the mist inside swirl faster and faster. And in the bakery, you see who can only be your brother, but he's disfigured and he looks just the way Matthew did. And he's leaning over Georgina Blair, asleep in her bed, and drool and slime are just kind of seeping out of his mouth between these long, jagged teeth. And so give us an insight roll.
Okay.
It'll be at 2.
At the same moment, my goodness, you're never gonna go insane. It's just crazy. At the same moment, so you feel as if you are standing in two places at once, and the red line is still there in the church. You hear Lancey's prayer. Weston runs. He just tears out of the church at high speed, and a long, massive black tentacle begins to emerge from the line. And at the same time, the Jeff creature leans in and begins completely engorging Georgina, like eating her whole as if a snake would. And then you hear the door kick open, and you see the constable bursting in, and he sees the same thing you're seeing. And then we'll switch to you, Andy. What do? You just walk in on this scene of an amphibious half-man creature trying to swallow Georgina whole from the feet up while she
Just
lays
because
in bed.
just because I feel like it's what Turner would do, and I'm curious to see what happens at the same time. He would go, Jeff, and I'm curious to see if the voice travels, but we'll see.
You hear your own voice almost echoing as if you're in an empty, large room. And you see the constable actually appears to hear you, but Jeff doesn't do anything except continue to absorb her.
We don't know
I
it's
mean,
Jeff, though.
Well, you hear the word Jeff. You did. So he sees this. Does he see anything else in the room? Like he doesn't see another red line break or something that I'm talking through, right? Or
Nope.
Huh.
I draw my pistol and fire at this creature.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah, give us a roll. I think you can do just other action.
Aim for a part that's not
Human.
much.
Occupational
What'd you say?
expertise.
Definitely occupation. And then insight if you want.
Would that apply here?
You can
Well, you can
always
always-
add an insight roll, yeah. Or an insight dice.
It's basically pushing your roll. Oh
Ah.
Jesus. Oh goody. You get to roll again.
So I just make an insight roll.
I
huh?
love that Jacob can't go crazy to save his to
But here I had
ironically
a
save
man
his
of the
guy.
cloth who's
And
supernatural is part of his part and parcel, and here's a policeman losing their shit. So
you
insight roll.
fire at the creature. Yep, you make another insight roll. You fire at the Jeff creature. Of course you roll a 6. Oh my gosh. Oh, but you can reduce it by suppressing knowledge. You fire and you strike the thing over and over with your bullets, and it like pulls. It basically had Georgina halfway consumed, and it pulls off of her, and she's just covered in this disgusting slime and ooze, and it falls over and appears to be dead. And if you go up to it and you see it's just like bleeding this blue-green blood all over the floor. She has a fireplace going also, and so the room is kind of lit in this orange-red glow. Are you going to try to reduce your insight in some
Yeah,
way?
I'm really sorry. I guess I got confused with the description. How does Turner see in this? He's at the church.
I touched the black orb we found on the dead body, and apparently, with the combination of everything, it whiplashed me into two places.
Oh,
So I'm seeing
okay.
the church and here at the same time.
So I will tell you, in Cthulhu Mythos, there's an item called the Sphere of Nath, and it allows the holder to view location they're familiar with as if in standing at two places at once. As a character, you don't know that, but as a player, that's what that is.
Quick follow-up question. So that whole Yogg thing, was that you said that was a spell, but it doesn't seem like a protection spell. It seems like something bad by description. It sounded like green creatures. Horrible.
Yeah, they appeared to be two separate things that you had read about. There was the emanation of Yoth that requires a child's blood, and separately a method of giving people something called the green decay.
Okay, but it didn't give descriptions of what these things were. Well, green decay sounds bad, but the emanation of Yoth, I don't know what the heck that is. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going to do what I mean, it obviously Andy can do what he was going to do, but just because it might be time of the essence. And is that tentacle going for Weston when he was running?
It actually appears to be coming for you.
Okay. I am going to try and flip. Okay, so I touched everything, and the sphere is the thing that activated, right? Just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
I touched everything else. Okay.
Exactly.
I will pull out the journal that has the translation dictionary, and I am going to try and find the words. I know the one because we've studied the one that says gate, and I'm going to try to find gate close or gate shut as close as I can and try to say this goddamn thing. If possible.
We'll come back to that in a second. What is the constable doing?
Clubbing this thing with my billy club.
Just beating it into
Yeah, just
pulp, basically.
Yeah.
Never gonna find my brother now.
Sorry. Well,
You just lose control and you just start beating this thing into a bloody mess, or I should say a gooey mess, perhaps. And after a few moments of this, what's left at your feet is just an indiscernible puddle of flesh and water and goop and seaweed.
Just on a off note, does it look like the liquid of Matthew we have?
It does.
Okay.
And you're still seeing this
Oh.
through your double vision, Georgina appears to be in some sort of deep trance sleep. Like she does not stir during any of this, and it's not like you're being quiet. And then suddenly, Turner, you are whipped back into one location and find yourself staring at the tentacle slowly moving towards you. Andy, you can reduce your insight back down to 4. And Turner, that's when you kind of regain your focus and you pull out the book. Give us an investigation roll.
Okay. Human. I guess I don't know. I don't know if this would be brazen. This is fairly thought out for Turner.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I guess I will. I'll risk it.
I
I'll risk
see.
it for the biscuit.
There you go.
And then
Okay,
we're
make an
gonna...
insight roll. You're keeping it together with a fucking 1, of course.
fairly thought together and focused for a ritual on the fly.
You find you pull out the dictionary, right, and you find the symbols page, which is not where you'd seen it before. It does appear to keep moving, and you find in Ivan's notes how to pronounce the symbol and the word for closed, and you speak it, and it almost the tentacle almost seems to spasm and jolt and then quickly retracts back into the line, which promptly closes. And all you hear in the dead silence is Lancey on all fours, just praying.
Turner is baffled that worked, and looks at Lancey and... Did Weston actually make it out of the church, or does he notice this and stop?
Nope, he's gone.
Of course. Wonderful. All right.
And I think we'll actually end the session there.
Yeah, it's a good stopping spot.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
I'm just glad I found the dictionary. that was... Oh, thank God. Okay.
God, I like really love this game. This is so much fun for me. I hope y'all are enjoying it.
Yeah, Turner's still trying to piece all the puzzle pieces together. He has like all these puzzle pieces. He's like, how do these go together at all?
I'm just trying to kill Turner so that we can go into the second arc. Like,
Turner refuses to die. He's gonna see this
until
to the
Turner dies, like, we got to keep going.
I feel bad because I'm like, I was like, I'll push it this time. Okay, and it's like, nope, keeps it together.
1, 2, 2, 1. Your insight rolls are just nope. And then meanwhile, Andy's like 6, 6, 6
I feel
every
bad.
time.
It's always after the other two. I feel bad. I'm like, oh God, I know it's gonna go bad for Andy. I just feel bad. But at the same time, I'm like, Turner. At this point, it kind of makes sense because Turner's just seen weird shit after weird shit after weird shit. He's like, at this point, he's like, yeah,
Right. This is just his life now.
yeah.
So you did just see. I probably should have made you roll insight again after seeing your brother get beaten to death by the constable.
He doesn't know if it's his brother or not.
He did.
Oh, he did know.
Yeah, he because it was wearing Jeff's jacket and looked kind of like Jeff, the same way it looked like Matthew, but obviously he's a deep one now.
Yeah. Not to
Or
mention you
was.
heard me say Jeff through the void.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know. I thought you were like, Jeff. Is that you? But didn't know for sure.
Oh yeah, it was more like recognition, like Jeff.
Yeah,
And then
and
and almost immediately sees you start shooting him and then beating him into a pulp.
yeah, but I believe we pointed out, yeah, because you actually heard me say that
Oh.
because it was weird. I think if we phrased it correctly, but it sounded echoey and I was there almost, but I said it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on adrenaline and out of my mind.
Yeah. The constable is quickly losing his mind.
In the space of half a day.
Yeah, I like how
Andy, you're
quickly. I was just gonna say, I like how quickly we got together on this, and you're like, as soon as the shit hit the fan, you're like, "Yep, where am I going? Just point me in a direction."
and you start coming up with your next character just in case for next session.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd play now.
I know. I thought we might. I feel like there's not a ton left in this arc. Honestly, ending the arc with that could be interesting. We don't necessarily have to, but because I'll tell you, the next arc is basically 30 years in the future. And so, I mean, we found Jeff and watched the constable destroy Jeff. And so that could be an arc ending event potentially. We can talk about it before next session, see what we want to do. I'll have to think about it a little.
Yeah, I forgot that because we're not gonna really solve this mystery, I guess. 'Cause
Right.
it's supposed to be-
Yeah, it
Yeah.
almost might be kind of interesting to keep it vague. That just was so. That last 5 minutes was like so fucking epic. Like, that would be kind of a cool way to end, and the first part of the prologue of 1878 Brindlewood Bay.
I'm just worried Lance is gonna go kill the guy in the next 5 minutes.
We'll touch base on that and see if we want to do one more set this time period or not.
Yeah, that's the issue. I want to solve it. I almost want to solve it in this time period. I'm like, we have so many clues. What?
I know.
Oh, but
And that, I think that'd be kind of. Oh, what'd you say, Andy?
I didn't. You just imagine it. You're going insane.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
What were you saying though?
Oh, just that keeping the mystery like that, because then it could be cool. Like we jump 30 years ahead, and there's gonna be a lot of like similarities and connections and names and items that show up in different ways that you've already dealt with, but you're playing like new characters 30 years in the future kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Lancey almost sees Turner as the new father, having just battled away a demon.
Yeah. Let's sit on that for a week, and then we'll talk again and decide what to do for next session.
Oh yeah, definitely.